Welcome back, everybody. Final half hour of the week for us. Getting ready for semifinal Friday out in Bismarck and Minot for the Class A and Class B. We'll give you all the TV info and the matchups again before we say goodbye. That's not the only state basketball tournament going on. Of course, Minnesota is wrapping up its boys basketball season. The 4A championship game is set, as I mentioned earlier in the show, for the third year in a row. There's a really cool, unique Fargo connection to the big school championship game. A couple of years ago, it was Jackson McAndrew and Wayzata. Of course, his dad, Steve, from Fargo South and played at UND. Last year, Jackson was in it again, facing Andy Stefanowicz in Minnetonka. Of course, Andy's mom and dad were legendary Bison players. And now this year, Cretin-Durham Hall will face Wayzata again. Wayzata's there for the fifth year in a row. Of course, Cretin has got last year's state tournament MVP from West Fargo Cheyenne, now a member of Cretin-Durham Hall. It's Tommy Ahneman. His dad, Ben, legendary Bison linebacker, pride of Bismarck St. Mary's, joins us here on a Friday. It's great to see you, bud. I was looking for you in the stands last night. Just this run. Tell me about, now you got a chance to have two separate state championships in two separate states.
Yeah, it's been, it's unbelievable. I mean, we were hoping that this is how this would end and go once we got going in the season, and obviously we got to win one more game, and that would be the icing on the cake for sure. To get the journey, the move, everything to get here, then to have that be the end, certainly be tough to beat.
I know it's been a wild last 12 months. For people that may not have the inside story on this, Ben, can you give us the lowdown on the family move and Tommy's move? Can you give us the lowdown on that?
Yeah, we were, Aaron's dad passed away. Mine did, Mike, the old man did too, and then I think just wanted to get closer to family. A job opportunity came up with Carl Anderson out here in the cities, and kind of just put my hat in the ring and hoping see where it goes, and then was able to get the position, and then move out here, and it's just a good move for our family. Fargo is home, and it always will be. I'm a North Dakota guy, so it's for us that's home. But we've never had like immediate family in town with us, so to be here and have her mom, her sisters, all. I mean, she's got 38 first cousins or something. It's astonishing how many Diddies and Ellisons and everybody that gets to the game. Every game we had somebody different, and we'd have a whole section. So just to have family here for that and be closer to family's been really awesome.
I know we exchanged text messages, I think, when the first real recruiting interest for Tommy started. Gosh, now this is 16, 18 months ago. To see where it ended up, did it surprise you that he's going to go play at Notre Dame?
Yeah, we didn't. I mean, we kind of Notre Dame was in the mix, right? They were, it's Notre Dame, it's the ACC, it's it's all those things, and I think once we got on campus, I mean, I'd never been there, and I mean, it's iconic. I mean, you want to talk about just straight nostalgia, university. I mean, it's picturesque.
Well, for you,
can't drive on campus, just people walking around.
Well, and for you, as a football guy, you had to be over the moon, right?
Oh yeah, and I told myself you can't make any decisions until I get to Notre Dame. I mean, that's just how this has got to go. So, kind of kidding there, but because if he wanted to, we would have pulled the trigger whenever he wanted to. But I was glad I got to go and be a part of that and just see a game and get to. Their coaching staff has been unbelievable. Kyle Getters was our main recruiter. KG is awesome. He was at the game last night. That was the first game he's seen live since AAU. So wow. I think that was super cool to see him and have him be at a game where Tommy had a heck of a night.
When in your mind did division, not even high major, but for you, like he's going to have a chance to play Division I basketball? When for you did it really click? Like, okay, this is going to happen.
I get asked that a lot actually, and I'm his dad, right? So I'm his biggest fan, and I literally always thought once he got like 6'5" at as an eighth grader, I'm like, ooh, he's pretty athletic. He's pretty tall already. I mean, I think he's got a shot. And then once he hit like 6'8", 6'9", I'm like, and then he's so coordinated. And I always knew that he was going to go do something. I didn't know necessarily what level just yet, but I always knew it was going to be in the cards.
Man, I remember like Portland the first offer, right?
Yeah, out of
Yeah.
nowhere, really. The
Yeah.
guy comes to practice and offers him that night. It was nuts. I was like, okay, now here we go. All
Yeah.
right.
Because they were in town. They were going to play the Bison, if I remember right. I remember I
Yeah,
texted
right.
him like, okay, here we go. And then, boy, the Avalanche, what was that as dad? What was that like to see? Because I know you've heard of it. You've seen other kids go through it and friends of yours. You had to deal with that for the first time. What was that like?
You know, going through it myself way back. I mean, super different, like way, way different. Like not even in the same realm of how this goes. It was, we just all seemed to be one, then it'd be two, and then it would be three, and then it was like, okay, pop, 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 pop. And then all of a sudden you get like there's a bubble. That was like there's a bubble, like you're a mid major, okay, you're getting all these good offers. They're all great offers, right? Every offer is great. Then all of a sudden, Penn State, poof, and also you're in another
Yep.
level, and then another whole group of people could like takes one of those to kind of get you into the next I would say like the vision of the college. Also, oh, this guy's on a board somewhere. Then it kind of opened up.
I thought last year, and we talked, and we had him on the show after how the state tournament went, especially because everyone talks about the dunk that Sem had, and Tommy came back and was the best player on the floor after that. How much of a mentality change was that? Because I can't imagine, Ben, there's a lot of kids that would go in a shell after a play like that happened against him.
Well, he's never too high and he's never too low.
Yeah.
Like stuff happens. I mean, I hate to say it, but in basketball, you're going to get dunked on. He's going to do it to somebody else. Someone's going to hit a big three. I mean, you just rinse and repeat and move on to the next play. And, I think that's where his beauty is that he's super competitive, like ultra competitive. His mom all day long, ultra competitive, but then it's kind of even keel. He doesn't get too high. That's a little more me. I'm not real high, I'm not real low, but he can weather storms. It's not, the stage is never too big. It's never too small. He just plays his game, and then you can see him get fired up. Like even last night,
Yeah.
the dunk then he lets it out, and then it's like a gravitational pull for everybody on the team just to chase.
It's a great segue because I was going to talk about from last night's game because, I mean, it was like, 15-14 for a while into the second half. And then Tommy had a big dunk, and boy, it seemed like the momentum just flipped to Creighton after that.
Yeah, he got his dunk, and then JoJo Mitchell, also our guard, hit a couple big threes, and all of a sudden you could tell everybody got a little looser. They're just playing their game, and I think they were a little, like we kind of talked earlier off air. I think they were just a little bit jittery, just kind of pressing a little bit. And give Maple Grove credit; they were physical. They had a good defensive plan, but I think once the dunk, the threes, and then you could see everybody starting to get into the groove.
And he had a three last night. I didn't know he had that I didn't know he had that kind of range.
Yeah, man, he can stroke it. He's got it. I mean, it's in there. Like his free throws are butter. So I always like that. I was kind of kidding last night. I was keeping everybody honest. Like, hey, you got to step out a little bit.
Tell me, what was it like visiting with him after the game? Like, okay, we're going to play for the state championship on Saturday night, prime time. Everybody's going to be watching Saturday.
Yeah, it's kind of the NDSU model for me and for Aaron. Like we just go 1-0. That was the whole sense of sections. Like just go 1-0. Don't look any farther. Then last night was like, okay, that was great. He even brought it up. He's like, we're not done. That's not the game. Great game, but we still got one more. So now we just got to go 1-0, and hopefully that'll end the way we want it to.
28-15 is pretty darn good in the state semifinal. I have to ask for each of you, for you and Aaron, how competitive you are. Are you guys? How are you during the game? Can you sit by everybody, or you got to be by yourselves?
No, yeah, we're kind of entrenched. It's nice having, like I said, all the family. We just kind of were like in our own little nest, cocoon, and we got, the Ditties are, like I said, they're competitive, man, and they yell, they stand up, they yell. Her sisters are as loud as she is, and I'm not that way. So I just I get up and I'm into the game, of course, but I'm not yelling as much. Aaron and I have like our life is very much yin and yang. We're like that's how we kind of offset each other, which is always good.
The excitement level for this one. I mean, this is the last high school game. It's the best way to go out before then it's off to South Bend. Just have you thought about that yet, or is that tomorrow night?
Yeah, it's certainly chapter's getting close to closing. It'd be different if he was in, if that was it. We're done.
Yeah.
Hang up the sneakers. But to have have another 4 years, hopefully, to really, to embrace the next group of families and friends, and just watch more basketball. It's certainly surreal. That's a lot of Aaron coached Tommy from second to seventh grade, and then so it's a long time of basketball just in this stage of his life. So it's a little bit bittersweet, but certainly looking forward to the next chapter, which I think that only gets better from here.
Well, I'd be remiss to have you on and not talk about, because you were a pretty half decent player as well at NDSU. We dug up some videos, so when you can watch on the stream later when you get done with this. Can you please explain why this is 1998? Why the shoulder pads were so big in the late 90s in football?
Cause man, I laid the wood. You gotta be shoulder padded up. There was no one threw. Everybody just ran the ball. You gotta be a thumper now. Back in the day, so yeah, neck rolls and big pads, and the helmets weighed about 500 pounds. I mean, everything about it was
Tell me,
really ridiculous.
You obviously have seen now where South Dakota State has become the team, but I guess then in the NCC, I know it was UND, but was there a spot on the road you loved to play that wasn't Grand Forks?
South Dakota State was back then. They were always okay, and their field was, frankly, it was kind of a dump.
Yeah.
But they've obviously done a lot of great things down there with the facilities. I'm thinking back now, South Dakota State was always a good rivalry, and then Northern Colorado was super. That was always, and they were good. That was super fun. Probably the funnest game I played in was Pitt State, and then Northwest Missouri State were probably, those are playoff games, so a little different, not NCC, but Northern Colorado was always, it was different. We had to fly, like all the things you just didn't have to do back then. Fly there, you have the altitude. Everybody's drinking so much water because everybody's got dry mouth from the altitude.
You also played for the legend in Dan Schmeeker, who I know he watches the show. I'm not sure if he's watching today, but you have a good Schmeek story that you can share on the air from your high school days.
Well, you're pulling back the way back meter. Schmeeks is a family friend, and we still text today, and love the guy. And he always wore shorts.
Yes,
that was like the thing I remember. Like, he was a good motivator. He always worked with the offensive line guys. So that was, and I was a tight end, which is basically another tackle, triple option. So he knew that those guys were important. So, but I think that the thing that just sticks out, he was very, very genuine, very passionate, and wore shorts every day. So if you could not complain about being cold,
that's
ever.
Exactly right.
And it worked. We never did, or at least not to him anyway.
Hey, before I let you go, I was just looking here. The Notre Dame football schedule next year, October 18th, they host USC. I'd be willing to go with you if you're going to go.
Yeah. You can be my +1. There you go.
It's great to see you, man. Tell Aaron I said hi. Good luck tomorrow. Enjoy it, and we'll chat soon, okay?
All right. Take care. Good to see you.
Good to see you, bud. There he goes. Ben Ahneman, former Bison linebacker, of course, Tommy's dad. And Tommy Ahneman and Cretin-Durham Hall will play for the Minnesota 4A state championship tomorrow night, 8 o'clock against Wayzata. And then it's on to Notre Dame and the ACC. It'll be fun to see that. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll wrap things up and get you ready for a loaded Friday and a huge sports weekend. Hot Mike will wrap on WDAY Extra right after this.